You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Just like the clock stopped on this podcast, whenever the game clock stops, that's time to order in with DoorDash. Pizza cravings hit at halftime? That's ordering time. Dreaming about tacos during a timeout? Boom, they're at your doorstep. Wait, you want burgers, chips, dips, drinks, and wings instead? Even better. Order on DoorDash and get everything you want delivered without missing a minute of the game.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, fat face, and the habitual liar.
Getting back to what I was saying about the Miami Hurricanes and Mike Ryan falling asleep with a smile on his face on Saturday night, he was maximum hater of Deion Sanders. Said it flatly. Said, I hate him. I hate what's happening. Was jealous of what was happening there. Was threatened. Was bothered by Warren Sapp and Michael Irvin and The Rock, all University of Miami guys. What do you say? What are you shaking your head no about? You were bothered by this.
Dan, no, you're projecting again. I understood where people were coming from. I'm not going to go at The Rock for supporting a school he didn't go to. That'd be stupid of me and hypocritical. But I was having a little bit fun with the notion that we're celebrating Deion Sanders, even though he's eking out 1-point victories as a 24-point favorite. And I did really get a huge chuckle out of the promos for the USC-Colorado game in the middle of NFL programming, calling it the biggest football game of the year, kind of forgetting that at halftime the Colorado Buffaloes had minus 40 rushing yards.
That smile is the one Dan's talking about.
Colorado Buffaloes, it's going to take a minute. And I think we all got carried away because that first win at TCU was so important to establishing the culture. And I have very little doubt that Colorado will matter henceforth as long as Deion Sanders is there. But we were breathless that it takes a while to build up the trenches, and that is a very tiny Colorado team on the inside. And I really enjoyed how much Oregon talked about it entering this game. Dan Lanning had a really funny pregame speech, and I was really curious to see how Deion Sanders would deal with the first bit of adversity he's had to face at Colorado. Who would he point fingers at? And if the loss to Oregon is any indication, this is going to get real nasty around loss number 4. But here's Deion Sanders after the game.
I don't think it's a target on our back. I just think this just teams are trying to beat me. They're not trying to beat our team. They keep forgetting I'm not playing anymore. I had a great career. I'm serious. I got a gold jacket, ain't back. So I'm good. But that's what it really is. I don't think they get any extra satisfaction, you know. It is what it is. And I signed up for it, so let's go. No, they don't make it tougher on our team. These are grown men. I'm not out there. If I was out there playing against every coach I played against, we would be totally dominant.
That's so great. That's so great. Also, is he not paying attention? I mean, there's a massive target on their backs.
Well, I do love that after 3 wins, me, and then after the loss, why are they trying to beat me? This is on the kid. Beat the kids.
Well, they did.
I know. Beat him up and down. Dan Lanning, did he release? Like, they must have released that pregame speech. They knew they were going to win. They know the size advantages that they have up front. And Lanning was somebody who, I'm assuming their social media team put this out, right, Mike? That they released this video that we're going to go to in a second.
He gave the television network full access to that speech. He gave them no access leading up to the game and then gave them full access because he knew he was going to unleash.
He had, now that the writer's strike is over, I imagine he got one early to cook this one up.
Rooted in substance, not flash. Rooted in substance. Today, we talk with our pads. You talk with your helmet, right? Every moment. The Cinderella story is over, man. Right? They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. There's a difference, right? There's a difference. right? This game ain't gonna be played in Hollywood. It's gonna be played on the grass. Yes, sir. Right? It's gonna be played on the grass. Let's go.
The spittle came out of his mouth.
Talk with your helmet. It's great.
You talk with your pads.
Play with your pads.
The spittle came right out of his mouth, Stugotz like. It was a big chunk of spittle because he's a football coach through and through, and that is the most watched game he'll have all season.
Also, he said that they're all substance. Don't they have like 52 jerseys and like no national championships? It just seems like if there's any, besides Colorado, who's the flashy team that hasn't really won much?
Don't they also have like an ornate barber shop in their $7 billion locker room? Because they're funded by Nike, whose founder,
Substance.
Phil Knight, calls plays from a skybox.
Not my favorite spittle-soaked interview, though. Give me this one. Because Ryan Day had my favorite moment
The best.
of the sports season.
Yeah.
And I would just like to thank Al Golden, defensive coordinator for the Fighting Irish. The two final plays of that game, you thought your defense was good enough to just have 10 players out on the field. Phenomenal.
It was great. We will get to that video in a second. Stugotz, late in that game, I think Ohio State converted a 3rd and 9, a 4th and 7, and a 3rd and 19. And then at the end, Al Golden just sent twice 10 players onto the field.
Out of a timeout.
It was breathtaking.
Marcus Freeman, though, in his defense said, I noticed the second time,
Right.
but I decided I didn't want to give them the half yard. I decided to give them the extra
touchdown.
player.
There was definitely someone while it was happening, not him, he's lying about that, but there was definitely someone who noticed, right? Like the two players that should have been there, like one or the back or whatever, like looked at each other and like,
The other team noticed they ran it where the defender was supposed to be.
Well, but on Notre Dame's side, for sure, someone was aware it was happening before they lost the game, and they're like, I'm not saying anything if you don't say anything, because like we need to go down with the ship on this one. Like one of us has bleeped this up. Like we can't admit this problem. We just have to hope that this turns out the right way, right?
Yeah.
All right, so you can see on the screen here, Stugotz, where it is Ohio State is going to run the ball because
Marcus didn't want to give him a half yard.
Oh, Golden. Oh, you gem. The gift that keeps on giving. Oh, Golden. The game is on the line. It's a goal line. You don't even have your player. What are you doing?
Is that the smile you're talking about, Dan?
he was thrilled because Jessica must have been suffering this. I was
the
told
worst.
she was coming in today, and then all of a sudden she vanished.
No,
She was supposed to be on the schedule today, and now Tony got
She had a rough one.
bullpen.
Called up from the bullpen, buddy. I'm always here.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that. I again tell the audience on YouTube, Tony and Juju are doing it differently immediately after games. You should check them out immediately after NFL games on Sunday. Thousands of people are doing so. But beyond Notre Dame embarrassing itself at the end, Stugotz, I think I'm with Mike on my favorite thing of the weekend was not just this Ryan Day insane sound because he was so happy to win after the game, but the fact that he was going after what an 86-year-old Lou Holtz had said to someone on the Pat McAfee show wearing a Lou Holtz mask and impersonating the lisp of Lou Holtz. So he's furious.
What a time, man.
He is furious about 86-year-old Lou Holtz accusing his team, his school, of a lack of grit. And here's Ryan Day giving the single most interesting interview right after the game he's ever given.
Like, I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
Tough team.
Like, I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
No one cares where Lou Holtz is right now.
Well, he's sleeping. He's
Not even his family.
He's 86 years old.
Well, he was at the game. He was probably feet away from him. man.
sleeping.
Tough
What
team.
he said about our team, I cannot believe.
Do you have to be like emotionally and mentally unstable to be a head coach?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot believe.
It's deeply unhealthy.
I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
Also, his hair very dark.
He claims that it's natural. We asked him about it on God Bless
The
Football
beard
last
is dark,
year.
too.
Ask him straight up to his face. Said, "Hey,
Yes.
coach, there's no way." And he said it's real.
He swears, yes.
Give me the entire sound again.
And it'll continue to be Ohio against the world.
Again, though, I need to explain to people, on the Pat McAfee show, it was someone wearing an old man's bank robber mask of Lou Holtz, speaking with an exaggerated lisp.
And it was benign.
To Lou Holtz.
It was so benign. He's like, I have respect for Ohio State. He was coach at Ohio State. If you look at their losses, they've lost to the tougher team, which is like pretty accurate.
Where's Lou Holtz?
I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
Is the noise behind him getting louder?
Yes.
Is he getting fired up and more fired up till a squeaky place is where he gets to because of the noise behind him?
I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
What a game. That game was trash. And then the final 10 minutes happened, and it was a movie. Thank you, Al Golden. Like, I'd like to know where the 11th guy is right now.
Also, Ryan Day's from New Hampshire.
Billy, this is a fun week of baseball. The Marlins have the Pirates, they have the Mets, and they're a game back. The Cubs have been hitting the ball a ton. I don't know what the rest of the schedule is for. They're not going to catch Arizona. So the Cubs is who they have to catch.
I believe the Cubs play the Braves now, which should be good for the Marlins unless the Braves decide to play baseball, and then it's not necessary. Or unless they decide to take it off because they're already in.
Are they a game and a half back of Arizona?
Yeah. They
could still.
Yeah, but they're not going to jump two teams. It's basically down to the Marlins and Cubs because the Reds have kind of fallen out of it a little bit. I mean, there's 6 games left, so anything can happen because no one, it seems, for the past couple of weeks has really wanted to run away with this thing. But these Marlins, man, they just can't get a break. Because first they have at the beginning of the season when they're doing well, they have the Heat going on a run championship. Now they have the Dolphins, and what should be like kind of like the boring part of the season, scoring 70 points. No one they can't get the attention on themselves. And no one can stay healthy. Everyone's hurt. They keep hurting themselves. Luis Arias last week sprained his ankle, stepping on a ball during batting practice, and then twisted it again walking down the steps because the lights were off because the closer was coming in. Like, they just can't win, it seems.
It is fair, and you can criticize me. I'm a Marlins fan, and I didn't go. It's fair to criticize Marlins fans this past weekend, right? It was Saturday, the last homestand of the season.
Saturday had a good crowd. The upper deck was open. Really? Yeah, upper deck was open, kind of full. Not a bad showing. And by the way, yes, it would be fair. They should. You would think
the Brewers are good.
The Brewers are a playoff team. If the Marlins made the playoffs, theoretically, that could have been a preview of the first round of the playoffs. The Brewers will be in. The Marlins may end up playing the Brewers in the playoffs if they survive. So it was a good, fun, almost playoff weekend for the Marlins. They end up winning the series. The first game was a disaster. They gave up 12 runs in an inning, so that was an ugly game, obviously. But they took care of business. They won the series, won the next 2 games, had a nice little Saturday and Sunday out of the fish there, Dano.
This is where they stun me, okay? Because they are in position, Stugotz, now to fatten up against Mets and Pirates that don't have anything to play for. The place that they've stunned me is they stayed in it while injured, going through and mowing through the Dodgers, the Brewers, and the Braves.
That was the big stretch for them.
Well, and they struggled against the Mets, which is why this is kind of like worrisome. Like, oh my God, are they going to do this again? And here's the thing that is kind of a downer is even if they pull this off, they're not going to be going into the postseason anywhere near full strength, right? They're losing their two of their best starting pitchers, right?
But Sandy's coming back, isn't he?
No,
trying
he's not.
To come back
no, he got
re-injured.
Yeah, so he had a minor
rehab
league
start.
rehab start where he got forearm soreness. So he is now shut down for the year. Yuri is shut down for the year. He's not going to be playing anymore. We don't know what his availability would have been in the postseason anyways because of the fact that he has like an innings limit, we assume, because it's his first season. But yeah, they're not healthy. They're going into it, down. So if they go in, let's say they make make the playoffs and they lose the first round, and people are like, oh, typical Marlins, whatever.
Making the playoffs is a great season for them.
Oh, this is the first time, I believe, since 2000.
It's already been a great
since like
season.
2010 that they won 80 games in a season, 2012, something like that.
It's already a success.
Yeah,
No
this
doubt.
has been a great season for them. It's just kind of a shame because you see what could have been had they stayed healthy and had people played up to what we were expecting in San Diego.
So as Dan mentioned, they have the Mets and the Pirates. The Cubs have the Braves and the Brewers. Like, I like your chances here, Billy.
But you never know. You never know because, again, you have injuries. You don't know what's going to play out. And also, these Pirates seem to be a little thorn in the side of people, huh? You see what they did to the Reds this weekend? Reds were up, and the Reds are still in it. Reds were up 9-0. The Pirates came back and beat them in that game.
Feisty.
Quitters, these Reds. I didn't say it. You said it.
Chris Cody, give me 30 seconds of your best Dolphin material as the Dark Knight, please. As the Dark Knight, I want your best Dolphin analysis. Finish us out on this hour strong.
Rachel, this team hasn't even hit its stride yet. The defense is still playing at a C level. You get that up to an A level. You got a Super Bowl contender. I wasn't prepared to do this as Batman. I had plenty of stuff to say, but it's difficult to formulate sentences in this tone. Hey, oh shit!
I know, I cursed.
I'll start it again.
All right, go sit in the penalty box.
A tough team.
What a choke
A
job.
tough team.
Ask any soccer fan what they crave most, and the answer is going to be global and domestic football news from across the great Star Wars cantina that is world football. It's the air we breathe. The Men in Blazers Media Network has a solution. Their newest podcast, Early Kickoff. They're providing daily soccer news and analysis from the very moment you wake up. The goal with this show is by 6 a.m. every morning to serve up intelligently accessible 10-ish minute roundups of the dominant storylines of Europe's back pages. Listen while you're still in bed and you can stride confidently into work knowing you're already the office's best informed about the European transfer markets, which young midfielder Chelsea are going to overpay next, and more. Enjoy Men in Blazers Early Kickoff on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Men in Blazers Early Kickoff ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Don Batard.
Look out now! Just Jack White doing Elvis and Dewey Cox.
Stugotz.
She hits it out of the park.
Harry Carey is who that is?
It's Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey.
And Elvis occasionally. And
Look
then,
out now!
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz.
There were 3 funny things that happened during football viewing this weekend for me as it relates to my wife, who couldn't possibly care less about what is happening on the televisions. One of them is that I'm trying to explain to her during a college football game that is the single greatest catch I've ever seen.
Really?
I will show it to you in a second in the event that you have not seen it, because you know what I was talking about. It is not an absurd thing. It is not a prisoner of the moment thing to say that I witnessed the best catch, better than the Odell Beckham catch in a Monday night game, that I have ever seen. We'll show you that in a second. But trying to answer her question of why it is that the red zone music has to be so theatrically operatic, like so giant in scale.
They're in the red zone.
To somebody who doesn't understand, though, yes, but it's not even they're in the red zone. It's just the channel before it starts is a symphony of the most giant music you have ever heard. It is the correct music to have before 7 hours of commercial-free football. But she was confused by both that, and she legitimately came into the room and was startled by the amount of stimuli in what I had to explain to her. Yeah, that's a quad box. She came in and she was like, my God, because there was on one channel, there was a touchdown. On another channel, Mostert was doing Stugotz's surfboard celebration. And on another screen was just Bill Belichick looking totally wet and disheveled with, again, no ability to shave himself, cuts over his lip where he tried to get the mustache. But the other thing that I could not explain to her, Stugotz.
The Octobox?
Well, no, the octobox she didn't walk in on, she would be really confused by that. She actually...
Wait until she gets a hold of that one.
She exclaimed at the quad box, she said the phrase, "Oh my God," in a bedroom the way that she's never said it.
Baby.
Shocked by it. But the part I couldn't explain to her, because she's always making fun of the announcers. This one, Stugotz, from the lead team at CBS. Somebody said, I think it was Nance, that throw had some mustard on it. And Romo's elaboration was, and some ketchup too. And that makes no sense to somebody who doesn't watch football and doesn't know what does that mean? Like she tried, I couldn't explain it to her. What does it mean to have mustard on a football? I could tell her that means he threw it hard, but why does it have mustard on it? Stumped.
It's just a perfectly prepared pass.
Yes. A little extra spice. Some mustard. It's Gudens.
I don't know. Is that the best mustard?
It's not French's. I mean,
is that the best mustard? What's the best mustard?
I just told you.
But is it? I'm asking.
Me, spicy brown. I mean, I love it.
I'm asking the audience, what's the best mustard? I'm asking the shipping container, what is the best of the mustards? I'm also asking everybody, why is that a phrase? What does it mean? I could not explain to my wife that putting some mustard on it is a stupid thing to say, and putting some ketchup on it is a dumb elaboration. Let's go to the greatest catch I've ever seen, because I don't think this is an exaggeration of any kind to say in the Florida football game, University of Florida, Stugotz, against, was it Charlotte? They were playing Charlotte.
They were.
We only have a still shot, Stugotz, and I'm going to try and explain this to the audience. The video right now, or the still shot, is on YouTube, and you can look at it right now, Stugotz, where a wide receiver, Pearsall, about 15 yards from the quarterback, is running straight down the field, and then with his right arm, and only his right arm, at the maximum of his extension, he grabs the ball with one gloved hand and then gets drilled immediately, because the ball was dropped in among 4 defenders, gets drilled immediately and hangs on to the ball, even though he got sandwiched between 2 defenders. Can I credibly, Mike, I sent this to a handful of people over the weekend. They all had the same reaction that I did. And these are football fans who have seen football. They're like, holy shit, that's the best catch I've ever seen. And I'm like, that is the proper reaction to that catch. And receivers are doing that stuff more and more often. All of these guys, Travis Hunter during warmups, all of these guys can catch the ball with one hand. But catching it at your maximum extension with one hand and this is the other part of it that is difficult, Stugotz. That's not the hand that you would catch a pass that's over your head with one hand overhanded. I remember years ago, Mark Bavaro, a tight end, caught a ball that was very close to the ground with one hand by snatching it inches off the ground with one hand. But when it is thrown over your head, you wait for it to drop into a hand as opposed to snatching it right out of the sky as if you have spider webs on your hand.
Right. You don't normally meet that at the peak of your jump and catch it with one hand. Yes, it falls into the other hand. You're right. That's great analysis by you. You've really dissected this pass.
Well, because it's the greatest one I've ever seen, and I can't believe that I'm saying that about a catch I saw in the first quarter of a 7-0 game against Charlotte. It was a 15-yard pass. Like, what I'm saying makes no sense.
Yeah, the Gators?
No.
Just watching that game?
Well,
there was so much great football on.
Came in as a highlight. I wasn't watching that game. It came in as a highlight in one of the other games.
Big Charlotte 49ers fan?
I had Washington State or Oregon State.
They're good. Pac-12, best conference in America?
Yeah.
How much college football would you like to break down today beyond laughing at Deion Sanders?
I said after Ryan Day did his thing looking for Lou Holtz that this might actually be the college football Saturday that we get to in the first couple of segments on a Monday that's not drowned out by the NFL. And the Dolphins scored 70 points. So there goes that. But I'm glad that we gave this player, Pearsall, is that his name? I'm glad we gave him his flowers because because when you take into account the hit, he got sandwiched, as you mentioned, between 2 DBs, and his hands aren't that big. He's tiny. He's not a big guy. That might be better than the OBJ catch.
It's the gloves. I mean, you don't want to say it, but those gloves, I mean, you could hang from a building on those gloves.
Billy, I want you to try to catch the ball overhanded, not underhanded like Dan was talking about, because the Odell Beckham thing, he kind of sandwiched it like a basket on his hand. This is going up to the apex and then grabbing it from the top like a claw machine.
But Billy's saying do it without the gloves.
I want him to do it. I want him to do it with the gloves.
Stick him, Billy? Huh? Yeah.
Billy, is Stugotz, God Bless Football had Raheem Mostert on. He of the 4 touchdowns this weekend, one of the Dolphin running backs who had 4 touchdowns.
Honestly, the poor performer of the 2 running backs, if we're looking at the stats, which is crazy to say.
Who's the other?
A-Chain. We already did this.
Where'd he come from, though?
We already, Texas A&M. We already did this. Stugotz, he's
good.
He's Chris Johnson fast. Like, he's one of the fastest players in the league. Billy, Stugotz is claiming that on God Bless Football, Mostert promised you guys a certain celebration and did it, and we haven't had anyone do that since Terrell Owens did it for us when he was taking requests from our audience and then turning them into celebrations. Is that what happened? Did he do a surfboard? There were plenty of opportunities for him to celebrate things. Was he doing that after promising it to you on God Bless Football?
Well, to be completely honest with you, I don't know if he's done that celebration before.
He has.
Okay, so there you go.
We've talked to him about surfing. He's a big surfer. I saw Mostert do that plenty in San Francisco.
So we've discussed, we were talking about surfing and celebrations.
Ruins everything.
Yeah, well, Stugotz wanted to quickly take credit for it. What I asked him and what we asked him to do was to have a surfboard hidden somewhere on the sidelines, the way Joe Horn had a cell phone hidden, the way that, Ocho Cinco used to hide signs, and bring out a surfboard and have his teammates hold him above their head on a surfboard and have him surf on that.
Seems dangerous.
He didn't want to commit to that, but, he surfed.
We're getting there, though, I feel like.
But you also better believe, Dan, that Stugotz has already been bothering him about coming back after 4 touchdowns.
He's coming back.
Okay, there you go.
He says he's been texting him, but again, you can't believe all the things Stugotz says because he told me that Mostert did that for him.
I thought he did. I mean, I had no idea he did it in San Francisco. I mean, it's odd that we asked him to do it, and then he did some sort of surfing celebration, on Sunday. And now he's banned from the show. I mean, that's it. I don't want him this week. Because I thought he did it just for us. I mean, I did. I'm disappointed.
So you banned him from the show.
He seemed like it was listen, it's the first time he had heard that idea, and it seemed like it was the first time he had heard that idea, and he was doing it specifically for God Bless Football. That's the way I like to think about it. I did ask him to surf into the end zone. I don't think he could do that. I did ask him to surf into the end zone.
Well, Tyreek Hill kind of just jumped into the crowd and was just waiting around awkwardly for fans to kind of come up to him and then start jumping up and down.
That's the other thing. This team is not only fun, not only entertaining, but oh my God. Dan, if you go to those games, and I'm not a big fan of going to a Dolphin game, but when you have Hill jumping into the stands and leading that kind of cheer, what an experience for Dolphin fans.
If you Google Raheem Mostert surfing celebration, you'll realize that it's his signature celebration. He's done many interviews talking about how he loves doing this. Did he actually have you convinced that this was the first time he was going to do it?
Yes.
I wanted to ask you something else that I heard the broadcasters say during the Commanders game, Stugotz. I don't know if people know how much time the broadcasters waste talking to all of these coaches and players before the game to have like a couple of kernels or nuggets so that they can say the following, which is what they said during this broadcast somehow. Because if you saw the Commanders game, this is not the sentence you would come away with. We met with Bieniemy on Friday and came away very impressed. And what I'm asking you is just one time in the history of broadcasting have you ever heard we met with somebody on Friday and came away very unimpressed. Just one
guy has no business coaching.
Just one time. That guy's terrible, man. We met with him on Friday and he's a moron. Like just wildly unimpressive. Anybody, you can't, right? Because you're league partners and you're basically only giving me that information to tell me that you talked to him.
Yeah.
It's the only
It's important. Yeah.
It's the only reason to tell me, hey, basically what you're saying is, bosses, I was working Friday. You sent me with an expense account out here to watch 4 interceptions.
It also buys you credibility with the audience.
But does it?
That you spoke to the coach.
It would buy more for me if you said you were unimpressed. I'm like, that person's really credible. They actually tell the truth.
We spoke to Bieniemy and we walked away and realized why he's never been hired as a head coach.
Fall is just around the corner, and if you're like me, you're settling back into a busier routine. You know I like to go on vacation, so I'm going to be traveling a lot this fall to football games and events with Golic and DraftKings, and that's why I recommend Simply Safe Home Security and their revolutionary home monitoring innovation, 24/7 live guard protection. It's designed to help stop crime in real time. Now, if an intruder breaks into your home, Simply Safe professional monitoring agents can actually see, speak to, and deter them through Simply Safe's new Smart Alarm wireless indoor camera, warning them that police are on their way. The new Smart Alarm indoor camera is also the only indoor security camera that can trigger the alarm and instantly deter intruders with a built-in siren. Simply Safe was named the best home security system of 2023 by U.S. News & World Report. For a limited time, get 20% off your new system when you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring. Visit simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
On October 5th, Loki is back in a brand new season.
Reunited. That's right.
The countdown is on.
I've been waiting.
Don't miss the return of Marvel's most watched Disney Plus show.
Loki. A little over the top, don't you think? I thought it was spot on.
His time is running out.
You better run!
Marvel Studios' Loki Season 2. New episodes streaming October 5th, only on Disney Plus.
Don Le Batard.
All the cruise ships go out at like 5 p.m. And like it's like a parade of cruise ships and they're all blowing the horns like brrr, and there's all these people outside because it's like brrr, a little foghorn.
It really does sound. It sounds like an old truck. Yeah.
I thought it was more like.
Oh my God,
That's a good one.
That's
a good one.
That was good.
Wow.
Wait, do it again.
Limited fake cruise ship horn.
Stugotz.
Really good. I'm waving to you. I'm waving.
Yes.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Always enjoy talking to this guy, although the state of the Jets must have him in a real state of misery. Damien Woody can be found across ESPN platforms on the following shows throughout the week: Get Up, First Take, Fantasy Football Now, Daily Wager, and SportsCenter, because ESPN is actively trying to kill him. Thank you, Damien, for...
You agree?
Yes, I mean,
yes, I do agree.
Obvious. It's obvious to anyone watching. You understand that when they lay people off, the people that they keep, Damien, are going to have to work a whole lot more on all of their platforms covering football. And the Jets' misery right now is a special kind of thing. So without spending too much time on this, although I think we can do the entire segment on this, I would like for you to take me into Mike Greenberg's home and describe all of the details before, during, and after the Aaron Rodgers injury. I want you to paint a picture for us of all the things that were happening there, please. And it's nice to see you again. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I was, the palatial estate was on point. It was fantastic. Greeny hit me up, was like, big dog, whatever you want to eat, it's on you. So I tried to spare him a little bit. I spared his pockets a little bit because I was going to go crazy with the spread and everything. So I just got like some nachos, some stuff that you just eat, watching football. No wings, because he didn't want anything related to Buffalo, on the menu, pizza, stuff like that, beer, all that type of stuff. We had a really good crowd there. Dominique was there, so Dominique brought some levity to the whole environment, and Dan Graziano. It was a good crowd there. And listen, man, the energy before the game was ridiculous. We were all pumped, all psyched, and then literally four snaps into the game, everything just hit the fan. I'm trying not to use profanity because I don't know how it goes on this show, but it literally everything. Poop just hit the fan after Aaron Rodgers went down, and it literally turned into a whole therapy session with Greeny from that point forward. It didn't even matter that the Jets ended up winning the game. It just turned into a whole therapy session. Me trying to convince Greeny not to jump out I guess it was like the 6-story window when Aaron Rodgers went down with that Achilles injury. So the vibe changed, and the funniest part was Dominique was trying to feel out, okay, when exactly can I leave? Because Greeny was so pissed. He didn't want to be a bad guest, but he was just trying to figure out a way to get the hell out of there because the mood was just awful. So it was very awkward, but Greeny was a gracious host.
Does Greeny actually call you Big Dog?
Greeny calls me a lot of things. Big Wood, Big D, Big Dog. Basically anything with a B in front of it, that's what he calls me. But I think he's just scared of me because of my size.
And he put out the spread, but it sounds like there were a lot of restrictions. I don't understand. You're not allowed to you're not allowed wings or beer, or because that's Buffalo?
Yeah, no, we had beer. We just couldn't have buffalo wings. I was kind of disappointed in that because I don't give a damn about buffalo, but it was some kind of quirky thing with him where he didn't want anything with buffalo there. So, when you're the guy paying for the whole thing, you just got to flow with it. But I did have some buffalo wings after that.
After the game? You had a post game? I found a way to have some wings. I'm a big guy. I'm going to find a way to eat. Don't worry about that.
You wait a minute. So that can't be a good experience sleeping, to go from nachos during the game to wings after the game and then going to sleep. That would create
a tough night, then.
Some unrest.
I was very well rested. I mean, I slept in Grinny's daughter. Like, her daughter is obviously moved out, so I slept in her room, and the bed with the accommodations were nice and everything. But I went to bed full.
Wait a minute, it was a sleepover? It was.
Yeah, I slept over. Yeah.
Wait, but how'd you get the wings in? How did this happen?
How did you smuggle the wings in? And were you eating them in his daughter's room?
Did you guys play Truth or Dare? Like, what happened?
No, like, his daughter's room is like all white. Like, I didn't want to leave any evidence of that. Like, when you got everything so sterile, I didn't want to leave any evidence. But I found my way to the wings. I found my way to the wings.
Do you live?
I snuck up. I had them brought up to me secretly.
Okay, but so is it? Are you sleeping there because you live too far away and get up is very early in the morning? Is that what's happening there? Like what?
What Greeny was so excited about this thing. He was like, "Look, we're going to do this whole deal. You're going to come over. You can sleep over if you want, because we're going to get up early because of the pre-production meeting and all that." So I said, "You know what? Screw it. I'm just going to sleep over. If Greeny's going to invite me over and have me sleep at his palatial palace, I'm going to sleep over." That's what I did.
Did anyone else take him up on that?
Yeah, Bubba, one of the producers for the radio show. Like
Bubba was there.
Bubba was there sleeping over. Bubba didn't even get up until like the next afternoon.
What was the breakfast spread like?
We didn't have a breakfast spread. All I had was Starbucks. We had Starbucks the next morning, so we grabbed that and went in.
How are you feeling right now today about the state of the Jets? This has been a lot of suffering for many, many years. And
40, Dan.
And you are feeling how today, Damien?
I'm feeling like the organization is cursed. Like, literally. I try not to wrap myself with same old Jets type stuff, but I'm starting to come around to it, because literally everything was laid out there for the Jets to succeed this year and contend for a title. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, he's ingratiated himself with the city, ingratiated himself with the organization. He was going to literally be this white knight that comes in and save the organization from this, all the awful quarterbacking that we've seen from this organization through all the years. And then literally it goes up in smoke in 4 snaps. That's it. Like, how many organizations have this? Like, no other organization goes through things like this but the Jets. And it's unreal. It's unreal.
Are you done with Zach Wilson?
Been done. That dude is not a starting quarterback. Like, come on, Stu. Everyone watching this knows this dude is not a starting quarterback. I know Saleh and everyone else has got to put up the face, because they don't have any other option right now on the roster. They don't have anyone. So you're going to say that. But clearly this dude is not a starting quarterback out there. And I just feel sorry for all these guys. I feel sorry for Garrett Wilson, all these guys, because I can only imagine, like, the way Garrett Wilson feels right now. Going into the season, he's thinking, I'm going to pop off. I'm going to be like the offensive player of the year. I'm going to put up great numbers. And then all of a sudden, your guy's gone. And now you're stuck with the same guy that you was mad as hell with last year in Zach Wilson.
Who's better, Bills or Dolphins?
Dolphins. I think, Dolphins. You guys are down there. They look like a bunch of Usain Bolts out there running around as far as a 4x1 track team. They are so fast. Mike McDaniel has Tua playing with so much confidence. And once the ball comes out, which it comes out so quickly, those guys can score at any point during the game. Anytime that any one of those guys touch the ball, they can score. And so it's fun to watch. Their defense got to be playing with a lot of joy, knowing that their offense is going to score a lot of points. Listen, I will pay to watch the Miami Dolphins play football right now. That's how excited they are.
Better offense, Chiefs or Dolphins?
Oh, it's not close. It's the Dolphins. Dolphins have the better offense. And you know what? Everyone talks about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, who, by the way, didn't even play yesterday. That was the craziest part about this whole thing, putting up a 70-burger on Sean Payton, and your second-best player didn't even play. But, I mean, the Chiefs are still figuring it out. They do that every year, it seems like. The Dolphins, they're like the reincarnated greatest show on turf 2.0 right now in the National Football League.
You are being accused in my headset by Chris Cody, one of our producers, of losing your train of thought there, laughing through it, and then finding your footing. Is that what happened?
Happens all the time.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, because you know what?
Yeah.
It is. It is because I hate heaping all the superlatives on the Miami Dolphins because I hate that organization. But how can you hate on them? You can't hate on the Miami Dolphins right now. They're that deal. So yes, I lost my train of thought because I'm disgusted by all the positive things I got to say about the Dolphins.
It hurts you. That is your chief rival, correct? That I was saying earlier in the show, there is no other rival for the Jets. And so it makes you so mad that you will spit your teeth out if you're a fan telling them to go bleep themselves. You saw this yesterday, correct?
Yes, I did. I saw the Jet fan that literally lost his teeth in disgust of what Zach Wilson and the offense was displaying out there against the Patriots. And I would have lost my damn teeth, too, watching that mess.
You weren't on this team that this happened to with the butt fumble, but I just want to play some crowd noise around the tunnel the night of the butt fumble as Mark Sanchez and Tim Tebow ran off the field. Let's play that for Damien Woody.
You guys are beat! Don't even come out after halftime. That's garbage! You didn't even come out after halftime. Garbage! Might as well take out the second half, tame.
He's the best quarterback we've ever had.
Your thoughts, Damien Woody?
That was actually a tame Jets fans, response right there. Like, I've seen a lot worse from Jet fans as far as that type of response. That doesn't surprise me at all. Maybe y'all don't get that type of response down there in Miami because it's so chill, but that was actually tame.
It's just the soundtrack to the last 40 years of Jets football.
Dan, let me ask you a question, man. How does it feel to watch competent football?
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm stunned. I'm stunned. This division, I've been watching competent football, but it was the Patriots for the last 20 years. It doesn't come in any other uniform in the AFC East.
Yeah, like to have the Miami Dolphins playing the way they're playing and then to watch Mike McDaniel. Like, that dude is so awkward and quirky and weird, but I love him. Like, I love all the weirdness around him, and he's just like a mad scientist down there with Miami right now. They're just doing crazy stuff. They're throwing all the shovel passes, all the madness that most teams dream of, and it's working right now.
You can see him on Get Up, First Take, Fantasy Football Now, Daily Wager, and SportsCenter. See him while you can before ESPN kills him. Thank you, Damien, for being on the show with us.
All right. Appreciate you guys, man.
Thank you, Damien.
Yeah, Stu.
Hey, how's your fantasy team doing? I know you love these questions during football season because fantasy football goes with your normal national obsession of football. But you know what else does? I, Mike Ryan, am here to tell you it's Miller time. That's right, Miller Lite. It's only got 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12-ounce serving, and it's got this smooth taste with a crisp, clean finish. You get all the taste that you crave without the calories. That beer, the one I'm talking about right now, Miller Lite is the perfect supplement to your football season. Oh, that dependable flavor, that beautiful white can. Just 96 calories. Whether you're at the stadium playing fantasy football or watching the game at home or at a bar, Miller Lite is here to make your football season taste like Miller time. So why don't you make it Miller time all season long? Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.